when there can be more complicated parts wherein there are partners and other things. So let's not get into those complexities at this point. Let's talk about a person, a seller, and a buyer. So what is a seller selling?
Product
Any
selling.
ideas?
Product.
The product.
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 Products.
Product.
Absolutely. So seller is selling basically
Yes.
products to his buyers, right?
Yeah.
Now, business can be of two types. One is B2B and one is
B2C.
B2C. B2B means business to business. That is, means a company is selling to a company.
Business to customers.
And B2C means company is selling to another person,
Person.
not a
Very
company. Okay. So, Salesforce is primarily will be used for B2B situations mostly because that is the main area wherein you want to keep track of your customers, or who is the customer? Customer is the buyer, right,
Right.
of your product. So now when we talk about my customers, when I say my, let me think myself as the buyer, seller, right? So the customer would be a company,
Company, right?
and underneath the company there can be employees of that company, right?
Right.
When I am the seller, I am also a company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also have employees.
Definitely.
Now the case is my company has bought Salesforce because that is the CRM I want to use. I want to store all the information of my customers in Salesforce and give a better sales and service experience for my customers, right? So that I can onboard them step by step. My employees are able to track that deal, track that engagement, track that sale correctly, and then later when the customer is coming back with his other requests, fixes, problems, I can also go back to my customers, see what did he purchase, when did he purchase, does he has warranty or not, and so on, and provide correct services to him what he needs, right? The whole cycle of customer engagement is the relationship management tool that is exactly done using Salesforce, right?
Right.
So both sides has company, both sides has employee. Let's give some company names so it will be easier for us. So I am Reebok. Yeah. And my employee, maybe I am Animesh Banerjee. I am basically a salesperson of my company. And my company CEO is Shobhanjit Ghosh. Right?
Okay.
I am selling to TCS. And who is I am selling to the HR manager, and his name is Biplab. Right? What I am selling? I am selling 100 shoes, 100 caps, because TCS is organizing a internal rally for its employees, or internal marathon to celebrate their 50 years of TCS.
Mm-hmm.
TCS has reached out to Reebok and said, I need 100 pairs of shoes, 100 pairs of caps for 100 marathon runners. I'm organizing a marathon run. I want that to be branded with TCS logo and send it over to me. Right? Good deal.
Good deal.
That is how a customer. So TCS will be a customer for Reebok. TCS is a company. So it is not but company does not talk to company. It will always be a person talking to another person, right? So maybe I am talking to Biplab, and Biplab is either connecting to me or I connected to Biplab and said, is there an opportunity of selling shoes and caps or my products to your company? He said, yes, there is a marathon which is coming just 1 week from now, and I need a lot of shoes and caps. Can you provide that? And that's how the discussion starts, and that is a deal. Okay. A deal is also called orders. When we go to Flipkart and buy stuff, it is giving us an order number, right? That is also a deal. So a deal, just like in Flipkart, you choose your products and then place an order. That is a B2C scenario. In B2B, there is a lot of discussions going on because there will be a discounting process to and fro. and a company directly cannot place order just like that. Probably he will float a tender. There will be Nike also doing a bid. There will be Adidas also doing a bid, and whoever provides the best prices, probably TCS will choose their products, isn't it? So that's how a corporate deal will function. Okay. So now think about Nike, another company that is also using Salesforce. Maybe Adidas is also using Salesforce. So everybody is logging to login.salesforce.com. All users of Salesforce, just like if you are a Gmail user, you will be using gmail.com. But if I log in as animesh.banerjee@gmail.com, I will be taken to my inbox. Will I ever be taken to Shobhanjit's inbox? Will that ever happen? It will never happen, right? So shobhanjit.ghosh@gmail.com will take him to Shobhanjit's inbox. When I log into gmail.com, we are opening the same gmail.com. Does not matter. When I am logging in, my login is connected to my inbox. Shobhanjit's login is connected to Shobhanjit's inbox. So we cannot see each other's data, right? So it's the same server, but providing different experience to different users. Exactly, Salesforce works the same way. Any cloud product will work the same way. So everybody is logging to salesforce.com. But if you are a Reebok user, then you will be taken to the Reebok instance of Salesforce. A Nike user will not see Reebok data. Reebok user will not see Nike data. But both companies will be using Salesforce, and both companies will be logging to login.salesforce.com. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. So it is a multi-tenant architecture, which we talk about. What is a multi-tenant architecture? Multi-tenant architecture is just like a apartment complex. In apartment complex, there are thousands of flats, right? And you can walk in and you can rent any of the flat, right? You pay money. Till that time you pay money, you stay in that flat, and you get a fully furnished flats most of the time, right? It had as a fridge, in a live water connection, a good lift, right? So in a multi-tenant architecture, you think about apartment complex, what will happen? There are several flats. It's a ground floor, this is up floor, right? In ground floor, I have 1A, 1B. In second floor, I will 2A, 2B. These are the flat numbers, right? This is completely a different flat. This is a different user. This is a different person living there, different family living there, right? But they also share a common terrace, probably. They also share a common staircase. They share a common lift. They share a common water tank, right? So apartment, all the families are sharing some infrastructures together. But inside their house, they are completely isolated. You do not own any part. This user of A does not own any part in any other flat. He does not have permission even to enter those flats, right? It is completely box and private entity. But there is shared services, which is listed here. Exactly, Salesforce works the same way. So when you purchase, like this 1A is now reserved for Reebok. This is reserved for Nike. This is reserved for Adidas. Yeah. All these three companies are using Salesforce, but they have different data encapsulation for only their users. So all the users of Reebok will only be logging and seeing data which is specific to Reebok. They cannot see any data which is specific to other companies. Clear? Only Reebok users. What happens if one user resigns from Reebok and joins Nike? He will get a new Nike login, right? So when he joins in Nike, he will log in into using that login. And when he logs in into that, then only he will be able to see Nike data. The old login of this user will be deactivated and he cannot log into Reebok. Clear? Just like you have two Gmail accounts. Even if you have two Gmail accounts, you cannot see each different inboxes, right? You have to log into different Gmail accounts, then only you can see that inbox. Exactly the same story here. Crystal clear, guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So data is stored basically as in tables, right? Just like in Excel sheets. Excel sheets, if you have opened any Excel sheet, down below you can make multiple sheets, right? Think about every sheet as a table. That is a table, right? You can store any data there. So Salesforce by default comes with some tables. These tables are in Salesforce world, we call these objects. So from now on in our classes, we will not talk about tables, we'll talk about objects. So when we are talking about objects, pictorially you think about a table. Okay. So tables are objects. What is the table structure? A table looks like this. A table will have a header row, which is saying that first name, last name, phone number, email, right? You will see all the tables on that top. There is a header row you have to create. Why is that needed? What is the point? What if this header row was not there? And I directly put here Shobhanji Ghosh 9836 shobhanji.email.com Animesh Banerjee, his email ID. That should be fine, right? Why is the header necessary? Is it required? Is it really required?
Yes, sir. Header is required.
Why?
Sir, because header is not there, we cannot understand the what table is there.
Not
Name field is
what, not table. Header is
Not
required to understand what is
row and
the
column.
data is there on that column.
Column,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So these are columns, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What are we storing? Maybe from this, it is written Shobhanjit. So you might say, oh, okay, this looks like a first name, but you are not sure. There is a 8-digit numbers. You do not know. Probably this is looking like a mobile number, but I am not too sure. It can be your Aadhaar card number also. I don't know. Right? In order to be very certain that this data is this, the information of that data, right? That means description of data. When we talk about description of data, that means data of data or description of data or information about the data. This is called metadata.
Right.
Sir, metadata means?
Description of data, information of data. Clear? So description of data is metadata. So basically we are giving a metadata. On the first row is basically a metadata, which is defining or describing the data which is getting stored in each columns, right? And each row is basically a fully encapsulated row. That is the full complete information of any specific information. So that row in Salesforce is called record. And this column header is called field. Clear? Now let's go back to our seller side once again. And seller and buyer side once again. Let's see. Are you getting confused? Or are you getting... Please feel free to block me and ask me questions. It is very, very important you learn the concepts very well. I am not going to open Salesforce today. It is not necessary. You need to understand your business well, the concepts well, and then we will talk about Salesforce. That you can learn on your own.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, fields and attributes are same.
Attributes is a generic term. Okay. Attributes, you can say a field can be described as an attribute. Attributes is a generic term, right? Field is specific. Field is a column in a table. Simple.
Okay.
Very, very specific term. So you will, when we talk in Salesforce, we will talk about 3 terms. One is the table, which is called objects. The columns in the tables, that is called fields. And the rows on the table, that is called records. These 3 terms must be absolutely clear to you, because all the discussions from now on, even in your trailhead, in our training sessions, would be based on these 3 terms. We will not use the term table, we will not use the term columns, will not use the term rows. In Salesforce, these three terms are objects. Yeah, Ronti, go ahead.
Sir, actually, I had read something during my module. I had read
Hmm.
something roles and fields. So, what is the roles, sir?
Roles is a
Roles.
different. No, roles is a different thing. We'll discuss this later. Roles has
Okay, sir.
nothing to do with tables.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So here we are talking about records. Records are the rows in a table. Fields are the columns of the table, and the table is called object. Very clear? Please register
Yes, sir.
that on your head. Very important for you to understand in Salesforce, because in Salesforce, unlike in an Excel sheet you will see that whole table in a tabular format, right? You always see a table with data with table format. But in Salesforce, you will not only see in table format. That can be many ways in which you can see the data in many different formats. So all the data will be stored in the back end as a table, but the front end may change. Front end will be different. We'll see that how it is different. Let's go back to our seller side. So the seller is a company. In this case, it was Reebok. We are taking one company at a time. Buyer can be multiple companies also. Let's talk about TCS as one company at a time. So the company in Salesforce world is called org. Organization, short of organization. So when Salesforce you purchase Salesforce, the seller side purchases Salesforce. Salesforce gives an org with an ID. There is ID means identified, just like your Aadhaar card number. So org, it will provide a new org to you. That org can now give multiple users access. So you can create user 1, user 2, user 3, user 4. By default, Salesforce will create an org and it will give one user automatically. It will provide for you. That person will create all these other users. Okay, this person is a super user, and in Salesforce we call this system administrator. Okay, so who are these users? These are employees of this company, right? Or maybe the owner of the company also. CEO can be one user. The sales representatives can be other users. The service representatives can be other users. Your technical person, like system administrators, there can be multiple system administrators, not only one. By default, Salesforce will create the first one, but that system administrator can create multiple system administrators. So that's all system administrators are technical people, and exactly that is your job after this session. So you guys are the system administrator, and you will also become the users of this org. So what is different between these users and you as a system administrator? These users, normal users, will work differently on a table. You will work differently on a table. We'll see this. So who are companies called org? The employees of the seller side is called what?
Users.
User. Absolutely. So employees of the seller side are called users. Similarly, I am now storing my customer information, right? That is the company. Company is stored in a table called account. By default, Salesforce has given this table to us. You don't have to create this table. Okay. And the employees of these accounts are stored in another table called contact.
Contact, yeah.
So how is it possible now? The account can be TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and contact can be Shobhanjit Ghosh, Animesh Banerjee, Biplab, right? How will I know which contact belongs to which account? Those are stored in two different tables, right? So we'll see a little granularity of that. Let's talk about. So by default, when Salesforce gives us some tables, we call this standard objects. Standard objects cannot be deleted. Okay. But standard object also comes with standard fields. That means Salesforce by default creates some fields inside the tables also. Okay, standard fields also cannot be deleted. If you want to create your own table, that is called a custom object. Custom object also has some standard fields. Okay, by default, when you create a custom object, Salesforce automatically will create some fields for you. Why? We'll see that. In standard object, you can create custom fields. And in custom objects also, you can create your own fields, which is called custom fields. New fields. Okay. Clear? Any questions? Custom fields can be deleted. Custom object can be deleted. Standard fields cannot be deleted. Standard objects cannot be deleted.
Standard objects are preloaded.
See, standard objects are already there. Those tables are already given by Salesforce. And you cannot delete those. Okay, but you can add new columns to that. And you can create your new table. In that, always you have to add all the columns by yourself, right? That is the whole part. That is why you're creating that table. And so what is the difference between, we talked about some users, right? So sales representatives can be your users. They can log into Salesforce. Your service representatives, service people who are providing service, like you think about Vodafone when you're, or Airtel, I don't know, Reliance Jio, everybody is using this kind of phones. So if you're facing any problem, you call the customer service, right? Those people are service representatives, right? The person, salesman who comes to you, calls you and gives you a cold calling and say, sir, are you interested in insurance or a credit card? That is a salesperson. So these are different job roles, okay? So both of these a company would need. So sales representative will be users. Service representative will be different users.
Yeah.
Then there will be technical users. Technical users are system admins, right? These are also users. Then you can have management like CEO. These are also users. Sales representative, service representative job would be to create records or edit records or delete records or working with data. Okay. The job of a system administrator is working with metadata. Clear? Difference? Normal users will work with data. They will store data. They will update data. They will work on data. Your job as a system administrator would be to create columns, to delete columns, to create new tables, create association between tables, or modify the application so that these people can work on their data. You are not working on data because you are not doing business. You are not a business user. You are not reaching out to customer. You are basically facilitating the people who are working in your organization so that they can use the application correctly. So you are a modifier of the application. You can customize or change the application according to the business, because the same Salesforce is catering to different diverse business. It may be shoe business, clothing business, heavy machinery business. Every different business will have a different process of sales and service. Okay, they would need very different set of data. So the columns would be different. The UI that is needed for each user would be very different. So your job is to change Salesforce according to the business requirements so that your users, that means your salespeople and service people and your management people, can work on data correctly. Okay, and your job will also be create automations. Automations means automatic data changes. Clear? Any questions so far? Okay. Now we will talk some relationships. The first table we discussed is account. What are we storing in account?
Company information.
Which company information?
Contact,
To
sir.
sales.
Bank.
Contact is a different table.
Seller company.
Seller companies. Absolutely right. So the person to whom I am selling, those company information is stored in account table, right? And the people who are working there, whom I am interacting with for my deal, there might be thousands of people working there. I don't care. For my sales and service process, whoever I am contacting, that person's detail I need to store in my CRM, right? There is no need for me to store all their employee information. So whom I am interacting, I will also only store those people's information. Like for selling my shoes and caps, I need to talk to the HR manager, probably their finance department, probably their logistic department. That's it, 3 users. So I will store only 3 people's details in contact table. So what is the relationship between account and contact? There are 3 kinds of relationship. One-to-one, that means one record of this has relationship with only one record of this table. Another relationship is called one-to-many. N means many. N means it can be n number. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. N can replace for any number. That is one-to-many. That means one record of this table is associated to n number of records. That means multiple records in another table. And another is in many-to-many. That means one record of this table is associated to many records of this table, and one record of this table is associated to many records of this table. So one-to-many from both sides will make it many-to-many. Clear? So give me the answer now. What is the relationship between account and contact? Is it one-to-one? Is it one-to-many or many-to-many?
One-to-many.
Which side is one? Which side is many?
Account
Account is one,
contact side is many.
contact is
Account
many.
is one, contact side is many. We represent it this way. These are 3 fork, right? 1 to 3. Okay. So what will happen? It is a one-to-many relationship because the TCS company, it can have multiple contacts. Wipro, if I am selling to Wipro will have multiple contacts and underneath it. Then I am selling to Infosys. Maybe Infosys will also has 3-4 contacts underneath it, right? So one record of account will be associated to multiple contacts. So one-to-many relationship. Very good. Educated batch. So now let's talk about deal. That is what the whole idea is, right? I want to track my deal. So this is the deal object. In Salesforce, the deal object is called
Opportunity.
opportunity. What is the relationship between an account and opportunity? One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many.
One-to-many.
Which side is one?
The account side should be one and opportunity should be many.
Why not many-to-many?
Account is only one and opportunity should be deal, should be, the many.
Deal
Like-
can be many, of course, I agree. But why not the other side? Other way around.
I'm not sure.
Anybody else? So when you go to Flipkart, you place your orders. Somebody uses Flipkart, he places his orders. So orders does not cater to multiple customers. Okay. Deals or orders are specific to one customer only. Otherwise, you cannot track the finances, right? You cannot, in one order, you cannot place the demands of multiple customers. It is not possible. Every customer will have a different order and different demands. So think about January order, February
Yes.
order, March order. So this TCS probably is purchasing every month from me. So every month I will have a different opportunity, but the same TCS is associated to multiple opportunities. Clear? Any questions? Now let's make it a little more complicated. I am selling the products. So product is also whatever we're discussing on the screens are all standard objects of Salesforce. Okay, these are already there. You don't have to create anything. Salesforce has given this all. We are discussing here to understand what these tables are for. Products. Now Salesforce what are the products I am selling? Can somebody remember?
Shoes, clothes, anything.
Shoes and caps.
Shoes and caps.
So I have product 1, product 2, right? Only these two.
Yes.
Right now we are discussing only 2 products here. So I have a table already to store these 2, product and shoes and caps. Before you go to a deal, you need to know what is the price of that product, sir, right? Think about going to a restaurant. So what do you see to understand what is the price of a different dishes of that restaurant? Different dishes will be the products of that restaurant, right? What do you see to see the prices of the
Menu card.
menu card? Absolutely. So a restaurant chain of business is there. How many menu cards can be there possible in a restaurant?
Only one, sir.
So my restaurant chain is across globe. In USA, I have a menu card, and India, I have a menu card. You are saying that if I give 1,000 rupees, a person in USA will be able to understand it.
No, sir.
Not sir, right?
No.
So in USA, you have to give a dollar rate card, dollar priced menu card. In India, you will need a INR price menu card. In London, you need a pound based menu card, right?
Right.
So different geographies, same restaurant across different geographies. I am not even considering there would be price changes or not. Even if we convert the prices directly and we assume that everything is the same price, still you need to have a different menu card for different geographies, isn't it?
Yeah.
So can I store the price in the product table then?
Yes.
You can. If I store the price in the product table, let's see the product table. Shoe is one row, cap is one row. $100. How will that work? Where will I store the 1,000 rupees as the Indian card?
It got to be.
So current
You are saying that
current
another row here, another column here to store that.
Sir, we have to make a relationship for exchange or formula exchange something.
No. So let us make things easier. Menu card, and this is the product. There are 2 tables. Menu card table in Salesforce is called price book. Okay, please remember these names. It is very important for you to. I will go through this tables names once again. So product and price book. So I have created 2 menu cards, USA and India, right? I have created 2 products, shoes
Cap.
and cap. Tell me what is the relationship between these 2 tables?
Sir, many to many.
Why many to many?
Because in USA you have shoes also in dollars and caps also in dollars. In India, shoes in rupees and cap also in rupees. So 2 by 2 is an end to
Absolutely
end.
right. Very good. So it is a many to many relationship. In Salesforce, you cannot create a direct relationship between 2 tables with many to many relationships. Clear? What you have to do? You have to create a different table. This table is called a mapping table. This is a type of table is called mapping table. This is not the name of the table. Okay. Mapping table is why required? To do many-to-many relationships. Okay. So remember that. So why mapping table is required? Mapping table is required to store this kind of mapping. USA shoe, USA cap, India shoe, India cap. 4 rows in the table is giving us a many 2 into 2, like many-to-many relationships, right? That's how the mapping table works. So mapping table is basically one-to-many relationship from both sides. USA is related to 2 rows. India is related to 2 rows. Shoe is related to 2 rows. Cap is related to 2 rows. Clear? One-to-many relationship both from both sides creates a many-to-many relationship.
Sir, can
between
you
these two tables.
elaborate, please? Mapping table is, I did not get it.
Mapping table is a different table which contains rows of mappings. As I said that you cannot have a relationship between. You will get into more details in days to come. So particularly in loading table, don't worry about it. Even if you're not getting the total graphs, we'll get into details of all the tables. So don't worry about it. So what I am asking is that USA needs to be associated with shoes and caps. India needs to be associated to shoes and caps, right? And shoes and caps needs to be associated from both USA and India. So both ways I have to create an association, which I cannot create in this table and this table directly. So I have to create another table wherein I am taking rows and mapping those rows. So USA is mapped to shoes, India is mapped to caps, India is mapped to shoes, India is mapped to caps. That way, one row in this table is now linked to 2 rows in this table. This is linked to 2 rows in this table. Similarly, one row of this table is linked to 2 rows of this table. This is linked to 2 rows of this table. Okay, that means one-to-many relationship from both sides creates the mapping table, which in turn creates the many-to-many relationships between these two tables. Okay, we'll get into more details later. But many-to-many relationships cannot be directly created in between tables. Why? I will get into that. So where will we store the price? In which table? Price book, product, or this new mapping table? Which makes more sense?
Mapping table.
Yeah. So USA shoe, $100. USA cap, $200. India shoe, 1,000 rupees. India cap, 2,000 rupees. Simple. Very nice, right?
Yeah.
Any questions so far? Okay. Now you help me formulate the other sets. Create relationship between another two tables. Again with product. This time I will have the deal table, that is the opportunity. What is the relationship between product and opportunity? So it is Jan order, February order, 2 orders I'm talking about.
Many
okay?
to many.
Tell me now.
Because
Why
Jan
many?
has different shoes and cap order, and February has different shoes and cap order.
Great, fantastic. Many-to-many relationships. How will I create
Mapping table.
many-to-many relationships? Mapping table. Before I move to the next mapping table, the previous mapping table which we discussed between pricing, a price book and product. Usually the mapping table, I will come to that mapping table. It is also a mapping table. This is a type of table. This is not the name of the table. Right? What is the name of the table? We'll discuss that later. So here also we will do the mapping. What? Jan, shoe, Jan, cap, Feb, shoe, Feb, cap. Right? When we place an order, what is a critical information that is missing? Which
Quantity.
we need? Quantity.
Quantity.
Where would you store the quantity? Opportunity, product, or this mapping table?
Mapping table.
Mapping table makes more sense, right?
Yeah,
In
yes.
February, I have placed 100, shoes 200. In February, I have placed 300 and 400. Makes it very simple. So this quantity here, right? Mapping tables are named after the name of the two tables whom you are mapping. Here it is opportunity product. So this table is called opportunity product. Mapping table between pricing and product should be named as price book product. It is named as price book entry. There is only difference. Okay. The previous mapping table we discussed was called price book entry. Again, this is all standard objects, all given by Salesforce. Okay. None of these tables needs to be created by you. None of the rows, none of the columns needs to be created by you. Salesforce has already provided these for your business to start from day one without doing a single set of changes. Clear, guys? Okay. So till now, how many objects did we discuss? Give me the names.
Accounts.
Account.
Contacts.
Account is saving what?
Account is
Company
saving.
information.
Company.
Which company? Company is generic. Don't use these terms.
Seller.
TCS.
Organization.
Seller
Organization.
companies, not seller companies.
Buyer.
TCS.
Buyer companies.
Buyer company information. Yeah.
Seller is the person who has purchased Salesforce, who is using the CRM.
All. Yeah.
Purchaser,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Contact.
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 Contact is doing what?
Buyer employees.
Buyer employees.
That's the
Fantastic.
same.
Very good. Both these together is your customer. Correct?
Yeah.
Not only that company, the employees of that company. Everybody all together is called customer. Okay? What are the other tables we discussed?
Product.
Opportunity.
Product. Okay. Product is storing what?
SUCAP.
No. Product is the products I am selling.
Product information.
Product to be sold. Right?
Yeah.
Opportunity.
Your Reebok is having shoe caps. If I am selling medicine, like I am implementing this for what? Pfizer, then I will have paracetamol and something else, right? As my products. Doesn't matter which every company will have its own products. Don't worry about it, right? What other what?
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Opportunity is doing what?
Deal.
Deal related information.
Deal.
Deals or orders, right?
Yeah.
What else?
Price
Opportunity
booking.
product.
Opportunity product. Opportunity product is what?
It's storing the quantity of the product.
Absolutely. Very good reply.
Then price book.
What else? Price book.
Price book.
Price book.
Price
Right,
book is
price
storing what?
Product price.
No. Product price is not stored in price book.
Different state price.
No. Where are we storing
The
price?
details about the products.
No. Price book is basically just menu card name.
Menu card name. Yes.
The name of the menu card. Menu card header, as you can say. Where are we storing the price?
Price book entry.
Price book end.
Price book.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's the. Okay. What are the other objects did we call? What else? Tell me.
User also, right? Object.
User. Yep. User is
User.
correct. Anything else we discussed?
And one more is lead.
Okay, good. So, what is a lead?
Lead is a
Leader we did not
potential-
discuss till now. Think about a salesman. How will a salesman normally generally start a day? Think about a salesman, door-to-door salesman. How will he start his day? You have joined as a salesman in a new company. Imagine that. How will you start your day? Probably you are selling shoes and caps. Prospects. Where will you get prospects?
From contacts.
Contacts is a
Lead.
customer. It is this person with whom you are dealing already. That is a converted customer.
Through marketing and
You are
campaign.
creating.
Lead.
You're the first day in office, right? So you don't have any customer at this point. Zero. So how will you start how will you create your customers? What
The
would be the
previous
first
data from lead.
give data? Who will give you data? You need another salesman to
Marketing
give you
company.
the data.
Another company.
Marketing company.
Company database.
You when you join Reebok, you are expecting Nike will hand over their customer data to you to start your work. Is it possible?
No, sir.
Then how will you work? How will you start? That means you are a very poor salesman. You are going to thank goodness you have joined Salesforce class and you are not going as a Salesforce employee or sales employee. How will a salesman sell a shoe and cap? Think about that. You have joined as a salesman in a company. How will you sell shoes and caps?
Sir, he can advertise his
Advertise where?
products.
Advertising a different department. It's not your job.
He can find out some leads that which customer is available to his products.
He will find out leads. Where will he find out leads? What is a lead?
Those who have shown interest in the product.
Those who have shown interest in the product. How will you get that information?
So
I have to offer somebody about
Let's agree that is a small company. You do not have a advertising department. You do not have a marketing department at all. Advertisement marketing is the same department. That is a different set of people who will create campaigns and stuff. Think about that. Is nothing of that sort. There is no department of that sort. You are just starting your company today. Last night you had a dream. You made a fantastic shoe in the morning. Now you need to become the salesperson of that shoe. How will you sell? You are a good painter. You have created a good painting. Now you think that I can sell this painting. How will you sell it? Go down.
So he can auction it.
Auction where?
Some
Exhibition.
room.
In exhibition.
So I don't know. Out of ideas, sir.
In exhibition.
So if somebody comes to you and hands over a product to you and says that please help me sell this, you will not be able to sell it, right?
Yes.
Huh? That's poor. Every person, every human being must be a salesman. Otherwise, there is no success in your life. You are selling your career, prospect, job, everything. You end of the day, the success of your career depends on how good a salesman you are. Every individual is a salesman and has to be a salesman. If you are not a salesman, you will not succeed in your life ever. Forget good money, forget good career, everything. End of the day, we are all salesmen. You realize it or not, it is up to you to understand it. Sales job has been demeaned in every sense, which is a very bad way of doing it. But there is only one job in the whole world, and that is the sales. There is no other job. Sales is the only job. Whatever you are doing is again the same thing. You come out of this, you get a certification, then you have to sell yourself, your CV to a company who will be interested in you and give you a job offer. The selling starts there. It's not only products. It is your biodata. It is your services. It can be anything. Everything you have to sell. If you cannot sell yourself, nobody is going to buy it. And if nobody is buying it, nobody is going to pay it. And then you are out of job, out of money, and you have to sit back home and do nothing. Okay? So become a good salesman. Understand understand the psychology of a salesman, how a salesman works. If you have a shoe and a socks to sell, or shoe or cap to sell, probably you will knock door to door and ask, are you interested? Are you interested? Are you interested? That is the job. Have you not seen people knocking on your door in olden days when there was no COVID? And people used to come to your house and say that I have a product. Are you interested in buying or not? We talk this at door-to-door sales. Things have become sophisticated now. They are not knocking your door. They are knocking your Facebook account. That's a different story. But at the end of the day, somebody is knocking you and asking for your interest. Either you're shutting the door on his face and you're saying, I don't have time. And that is a cold lead. That means this person is not interested in your product. That does not convert from a lead to a customer. And the person who keeps the door open and says, okay, what is the price? How much discount are you giving? If that person is standing beside you, having a discussion with you, that is a potential customer that has not purchased. Okay. So a person has done a deal with you or not. If you are knocking that person and he's showing interest in your product, or a potential customer, you think that this person has bought a shoe or cap in last few days, probably he's interested in shoes and caps. Okay. Or are you interested in buying something? He says, yes, but I have not heard about your company's name. So I need to purchase, but I don't know about your shoe and company's name. So I am not interested in your product. All these people who are interested or not interested in your product, but you have the ability to convert them into customers, or you see a potential of converting them to customers, are leads. So leads are individuals whom you are knocking. Is it clear? What is the definition? Very easy definition. Lead is a person whom you are knocking and asking for interest. Is it why should I store that in Salesforce? He's not a customer. I have a CRM, customer relationship management tool, and this guy has not even bought my product. What is the point of storing that person's details? And why is Salesforce giving us a table to store leads?
Maybe in
Tell me.
future we can reach out to him.
Absolutely. So future prospects, maybe there is a potential. This person in sales world, when your customer says no, a salesman reads it as not today. Okay. Please remember the jargons in a sales world. When the customer says no, that means not today. Okay. So I will reach out to this person again, maybe after a month. I have launched a different kind of shoe product. Are you interested now? He says, get out of my house again. You come in third month. You say, I have fantastic shoe. You cannot say no this time. Think about a person who is wooing or getting a new girlfriend. I don't know how many of you have chose or like chased or went after girlfriends. It's a long drawn process for many people. So keep hitting her again and again and again and again, and finally probably she shows some interest or throws you out or escalates you. Yeah. There are two possibilities. If she falls in love with you, then that is a customer who is converted. Okay, it's the same process. A salesman is basically hitting out his girlfriend and trying to create a long-term relationship with your customer. And it's the same process, and nothing changes in life, right? It's the same similarly everywhere.
Or sir, if she blocked,
okay,
then
Yeah. Then sales, you are gone forever. Then the sales, you have to mark that lead as lost. Lead lost forever. So, yeah. And then, what is the point of storing a lead lost forever? Does it make sense in storing a lead lost forever in Salesforce? What do you think?
No, sir. I think
Yeah,
Charu?
Animesh, it can happen
Yeah,
from
I'm saying,
boyfriend
Charu,
as well, because Charu is
is
also
it
there.
good?
Yeah.
Is it good that a guy maintains in diary all the rejected denials he has faced from different girls in a diary? He's noting it down. This girl has rejected me for this. This girl rejected me on this tarikh. Does it make sense to store these values? What do you think?
No, sir.
No, it is. It is. It is absolutely essential to keep track of your rejections in sales world and both in human fields. If it is a boyfriend girlfriend relationship also, I will suggest maintain a diary and keep track of your rejections. Why? Because that is the way you improve yourself. So analytics, yeah, absolutely critical for a business to develop itself and your individual development also. How to become a good playboy in later in future. So the idea is to improve yourself. A company wants to improve. A company wants to sell customers, increase its customer base, become better and better. So keeping track of your lost opportunity or lost leads will analyze the reasons for you. Why are you failing? Why so many people are not getting interested in your products? You have analytics to report on you, analyze that, and become a better company. Trust me, your management is looking into this more critically than how much success you have given here. Yeah, very important. So failures is the pillar of success, and that is a very, very important for you to track. You cannot brush it under the carpet. Okay, a company who analyzes the failures better becomes a better company. So don't hesitate to understand. It is very, very critical to understand failures and why the customer is saying no or why the customer is unhappy. All this is analytics of a company which drives a company to become a better company, right? How to attract my customers, how to go to my customers and they cannot say no on my products, right? That is how a company will improve. So that is the reason why lead is a very important storage. And also important part is that a salesman's job in Salesforce world is called 10% conversion. Normally in every company, in every industry, it is the same ratio. So if you hit 10 people, one person will show some interest. So what if you are not tracking these 10 people you have hit? Your manager will say, what work are you doing? A salesman job is bulk working on leads. That is the most of his day. If he's not keeping track of how many leads he reached out today, your manager will say, only one conversion. What did you do the whole day? He's not doing unproductive work. That is the ratio. That is the process. This is how it works in every industry. So to give visibility of what your salespeople are working on, where are they spending their time, it is very important to track leads. Yeah? Getting? Sorry. So lead is a company or individual?
the individual.
It's an individual. Yeah. In lead, you will have a first name, last name, and a company name field. Okay. When I convert a lead, that means a person shows interest. The company, the field name becomes a record in accountable, and the lead is basically totally converted to a contact.
Contact, right.
Okay. and is associated to that account. This is a lead conversion process. Till now, whatever we have discussed now, let us see that on Salesforce. I hope everybody have created your Trailhead accounts.
Yes, sir.
Shubham
Yes,
is the
sir.
new, right?
Yes,
Shubham.
related account.
Who is the new
Today?
person? Sushanto, right?
Yes.
Sushanto.
No, sir.
Shubham.
Shubham is the new
Shubham.
person. So Shubham, we will share all the materials and we'll go through the materials in Salesforce. This is the official site. You should register yourself to trailhead.salesforce.com. Okay. First,
Okay.
sign up using your Gmail ID or LinkedIn ID. We will always support LinkedIn. If you do not have a LinkedIn account, go for it. Create a LinkedIn account and then log in using LinkedIn account, the Trailhead. Okay. Anybody who is not in LinkedIn, it does not exist in IT industry. Please have a LinkedIn account. So just like you are not living if you are not on Facebook, same story. So if you're in on that, so if you go to the trail mix, which you can search with, here is the bong. You search with this, and it will give you a bong administrator trail. Please finish this. Okay, this is a total 26 hours trail. This is a home task, home study material. Okay. So let us see, how will you create a new org in Salesforce? If you go to hands-on org, you can create a new playground. Say batch 18. This is my playground. It takes a while. This is a development edition which is getting created. Free edition, free Salesforce org that is created by Salesforce for developers or administrators to play around. Okay, this is not to be used for business at all, or this should not be used for any kind of sales or service activities. Okay, it is only for technical hands-on purpose. Okay, so this org you will create when you are doing the Trailhead. It will also asking you to create a playground, so don't worry about it. You can create it anywhere, or you can go to this hands-on org and you can create 10 playgrounds at most. Okay, so in each org you will be able to create 2 system administrators, only 2 users. Okay, not more than that. But in actual world you can create unlimited users, right? Reebok will have 2000 3000 users logging into the same org. Clear? Why I want to show you this, if you are logging it from Trailhead, you don't have to do a user ID password, but you can also, and after some time you will see a need why you have to log in using user ID and password. We'll discuss that at a later date. Okay, just now we have created the batch 18 org. This is the new org created one, and you can do a launch directly from here. You can bypass user ID password. Why? That is called a single sign-on. We will discuss that later, how that works. So this is a fresh instance of Salesforce. Okay, new instance of Salesforce. Just like a mobile application, in mobile we call it mobile apps. Salesforce also have an app launcher. This is the app launcher. Here all the apps are there. We are discussing sales app right now, so you will convert this to sales. Yeah, and all these things which we discussed today, you will see account, contact, leads, opportunities are all there. There is some other things we'll discuss later. So how will the salesman work? Let's see. I will go to leads. You can create a new lead from here. You can create a new lead from here also. Okay, I have seen many people getting confused between clicking here and clicking under this. These are 2 different options. This is clicking the tab and this is clicking quick actions. Okay, so this is the same thing. So it will create a new lead. So let's see. Let's create a new lead. I will say Shobhanjit Ghosh. He's working under Hong Kong. I want to sell shoes and caps to this guy, right? So the lead status is not contacted. I have not contacted this person. This is the bare minimum information I need, right? So I have tracked the person with whom I want to contact. So what I do, I send him a mail. Sir, want to show you our products. Please give me a suitable time. So here Salesforce has the ability to directly send mail from Salesforce itself. So I have sent him a mail. Probably he replies back and he says that maybe tomorrow, or he can call back and give a date. So I created log a call. And I said that talked to him. Why I need to track this? Because I need to show my manager that I'm working on Shobandit Ghosh, right? He called for a presentation, right? So I now go for a new event. What is that? Presentation, right? So this is a meeting. I am doing this 3 days from now. So I have set up meeting. So you see all these activities are happening under this lead. And then finally, I'm working on this lead. So I will mark this as a lead I am working on because I am contacted this person, I'm working on it. And there is two possibilities. Either he throws me out of his house, or he says that, okay, let's discuss the discounting process. So I will convert this. When I convert this, immediately the Bongbong, which was there in his company name, I will create an account with Bongbong. I will create a contact and will convert this lead to a contact. And I can optionally create an opportunity. Optionally, you can stop creating this also. But I say maybe Jan order. This is right, Jan 222. So I create 3 records in 3 tables at one shot. You see, I have created an account record, I have created a contact record, and I have created an opportunity record. You see, this contact and opportunities are already associated to the account now automatically. What happens? So let's go to the account. In account, I can see Bongbong is there. In contact, I can see Shobandit Ghosh is now there. In leads, there is no Shobandit Ghosh now. No Shobandit Ghosh here, right? So I can go to Bongbong and probably in this related list, I can see Shobandit Ghosh. So I can jump directly to Shobandit. It all takes me to contact, or I can directly click here and go to contact. From here in the details, I can see account. I can click here. It takes me to the account. So all these are interrelated, right? Don't worry about it. Even if you go to opportunity, you can see Bongbong. This also shows up in the account. So all the related things, that means this related tab will show all this related list underneath it. Okay. So I have one contact associated to this account, one opportunity associated to this account. So I can create new contacts here. I can say Mowa Ghosh maybe is the HR manager. So I want to track her also. So see, and I can also create a February order here. Bongbong February order. Yeah. When you create it from this, the close date is essential and the stage is essential. So I am putting it at prospecting. So so this has now become a potential customer. It is still, the deal is not cracked. The customer has shown interested. The deal is ongoing. I can now go to this opportunity and keep working on this, do multiple accounts, meetings, send, and I can add products here, right? I can say which product I am adding it. By default, the menu card is standard menu card. You don't have to choose price book, but if you have different countries, different menu cards, then you have to choose which menu card you want to use. Why this is needed? Because the price list is dependent on the menu card, right? So here, if I choose, this is by default standard. So you don't need to choose the standard menu card. You can directly go and add products. Here, by default, Salesforce has given some products. So I have choose these 2 products. You can create your own products. Here, I have to specify the quantity. This is getting stored where? Just before that, let me go back to this screen once again. Add products. So this is showing me the list of products and list of price book. Which table is basically fetching this, or which object is giving me this information? Anybody?
So price book entry.
Price book entry, absolutely. So these are the products and the list price is showing up here. I can select this to, and this is now which screen is storing this information?
Opportunity product.
Yes. So here I will give 10, 20 quantities and save it. So see how many tables I'm entering data. So first I entered data into lead, converted this and created data in 3 tables: account, contact, and opportunity table. Then I have entered data into opportunity product table, and I have like pulled up data from price book and price book entry table, isn't it? And finally I mark this as closed, and I can mark this as closed won. I have got my business. The salesman's job is done. This is how a salesman will use Salesforce. Any questions? So salesman uses Salesforce as a normal user, and this is how Salesforce works. Your job is not to work here. Your job is to work inside setup. Just like in mobile phone, you have a settings. You go and change your mobile phones, do different things on your mobile. That is in the same thing is setup. So system administrator will only work on setup, and most of the time, all our trailheads will be working inside setup. Here, it is opening a different tab for you, so you can always choose and go back to your own tab and keep testing your changes. So if you create a new field, you can do this here. It will show up in this screen. So that means the salesman can now see the new field. We'll see this in later sessions. But right now, please complete the session, and I will also send this recorded video today so that you can review it. Go forward, like see this video again and again so that all the concepts get ingrained in your brain, because everything which I'm talking and discussing here will be asked in interviews. Everything which you're reading in your materials will be asked in your certifications. Okay. And if you're facing any technical challenges, you have a dedicated mentor, which is Angshita, who is on this call right away. You can call her anytime and discuss if you're stuck in any trailheads. She will connect with me if needed, so that you can proceed further. But do not sit idle. Please reach out to her and continue working. If you're stuck, don't wait for this Sunday sessions. Your job is to reach out immediately to Angshita and get yourself untangled and then move forward. Yeah, that's the whole idea. That is all. Welcome for the first class. I hope you had a good introduction of what are the Salesforce ideas are. Don't worry if you are not getting everything. Please study this video again and again, but please spend time dedicated 2 to 4 hours into learning Salesforce. Otherwise, you will keep falling behind, and we will run very fast in these classes. Yeah. So very important that you keep track and get yourself up to, so that you can ask the right questions in these classes. Any questions? Otherwise, we'll stop the recording and